age can be good if you have a good person who can steer the institution for a long period of time. But age can be bad if you have a bad person who is in office for a long period of time.
Yes.
But to address that particular issue, in fact, I believe that there should be judicial term limits. In the same way that there are term limits in the executive branch, there are term limits in the legislative branch. We copied this sitting until 70, or as you know, in the U.S. Constitution, it is not just 70, but until they are able to. Okay, we copied that from the U.S. Constitution, but we have to remember that at that time the U.S. Constitution was ratified in 1791. I think that the probable age of people then, their longevity was only in the 50s. And that's why they were not expected to live long. No? Yes. But to my mind, well, that one, by the way, is already being challenged. There was a recent survey in the U.S. which showed that 66% of U.S. adults believe that that should be amended and that there should also be term limits in the judiciary. So if you ask me what I would propose, we should have a 770 rule in the judiciary, meaning that term limit of only 7 years, regardless of what age. And once you reach the age of 70, then you have to retire. Okay? And as in the same way that you asked all of us candidates to sign a waiver of our bank accounts, I am also willing to sign a waiver to say that I will only serve for 7 years, if appointed.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chairman. Now, I'll go to another point. We all know that the impeachment of the former Chief Justice has affected the judiciary in a way. Now, in your opinion, what kind of a Chief Justice do we need today to regain the respect, the trust and confidence of the people, and to restore the cordial relationships of the judiciary with the other branches of government?
I agree with you, Justice, that indeed I think that the impeachment caused a disruption in terms of how our justice system works. But I believe that this disruption is actually healthy. And to be honest, I have read papers saying that maybe we should have a healing Chief Justice at this point. I think that is not yet time. I think there continues to be problems and issues that the judiciary faces that also needs further reform. So yes, again, at some point, people should learn to disagree without being disagreeable. If people are just very professional in the way they do things, I don't think there will be a problem. Okay? And insofar as being able to ensure that the credibility is restored and maintained, to my mind, the solution is changing culture, changing attitude, and changing mindset. That the courts should be more transparent in the way they do things. They should be able to get buy-in and participation from the public. They should get the people more involved in their operation so that the people are not kept in the dark. Because I think that's part and parcel of the problem, that the Supreme Court is seen sometimes as a mystery, as an old boys club, as secret society and things like that. The way to do it is to open it up. One of my favorite sayings is, sunlight is the best disinfectant. Open it up, let the sun shine through, and I think that the credibility of the court will be restored.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, if you will be fortunate to be nominated and appointed as the next Chief Justice, what would be your top 3 priorities upon assumption of office?
If I may reiterate, Madam Justice, first overhaul HR, human resources. Okay. Attract the best and the brightest. Because as I said, the work that an agency does is only as good as the people who do them. Number 2, finally fix the case congestion and delay. That to me is the biggest practical issue facing the courts. And I said, I shudder when I think about the economic repercussions of this delay. And then finally, after all is said and done, the Supreme Court should lead by example. Lead by example in terms of wiping out its own backlog, leading by example in terms of accountability and transparency, leading by example by being more adept in using technology. I think technology is a tool that can be used in order to ease the burden of the work of the Supreme Court. And as I said also, the Supreme Court should really reach out and let its hand go through and speak to the other stakeholders so that we may be able to really show, what it's trying to do, and after its performance, it's able to really assure the people that it is here to try and improve our justice system.
Okay. Chairman, my last question. I feel that I have to tell you this to be fair and to give you a chance to comment on this publicly. Yesterday, actually this was received by our office on July 20. A letter was filed by the Philippine Overseas Telecommunication Corporation. What is this? The PhilComSat group of companies and the PHC through their counsel, Attorney Kapunan, opposing your nomination to the position of Chief Justice. Now, they allege that your refusal to abide by the resolutions and directives of the Ombudsman, the Supreme Court, the PCGG itself, and the Department of Justice has caused irreparable damage to these corporations. Do you want to comment on this?
Yes, of course I do, Madam Justice.
Okay.
In a strange way, I welcome this opposition because it gives me again an opportunity to preach the gospel of good governance. They were saying that you're probably not doing your job in government unless a case is filed against you. So be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
To me, it is a badge of honor if a case is filed against you wherein you are trying to protect government interests. Just by way of background, those opposing my nomination, well, Mrs. Erlinda Ilusorio Bildner is the president of PhilComSat. She is the daughter of Potenciano Ilusorio, who, according to PCGG records, was a Marcos crony. And then the lawyer who signed it, Attorney Lorna Pataho Kapunan, also, she was the daughter of a Marcos classmate, former COMELEC Commissioner and Justice Lino Pataho. One of the problems in PCGG is that you get mixed up with people from the Marcos regime. And again, most of them are back in power, and that's why it is very difficult to go against them. But just for the record, the current PCGG, has, if you look at the allegations, if you look at the dates, it's all before September 2010. So we have done no wrong against PhilComSat. In fact, the funny thing is that I have been elected the chairman of POTC in September 2011, up to now. But under the bylaws, only the president and 2 members of the board can call a meeting. It is what, 10 months already? No board meeting has been called. Also, in respect of, again, we have not received a single centavo from PhilComSat or POTC. What we're all asking from the current management, is that they be transparent and accountable in the way they're managing the company. The government has a 35% interest in these companies, which was surrendered to the government, to PCGG by the group of Mr. Campos. We just want to protect that interest. And that's why I challenge both Ms. Bildner and Ms. Kapunan let's have a full-blown Senate investigation on this matter.